Hey everyone. How you doing? It's been a hot minute since I have gone live, and I'm kind of just wanting to let you guys all know what the hell's been going on. So you're gonna have to let me know in the comments how eclipse season was for you, because eclipse season rocked my 10th house. It rocked my 10th house, it rocked my first house. And I went through a lot. I went through a lot, and a lot of you guys know, like, this kind of stuff started, this whole cycle started back in September with Libra season. Hey Rita, hey Risa, hey. Started back during Libra season. We were going through the nodal switches, and so a lot of this energy with the eclipses in Aries and Libra has been culminating with these last, few moons. And they've been hitting inside my 10th house, career, reputation, and squaring on my first house, my house of self, and I was, especially with Mars retrograding in Cancer, it's that was a long process. That was a long process with Mars retrograding in Cancer. And to be fair, Mars and Pluto, where they fall in my chart, they've been doing a fucking number on my moon, which I'm ruled by, Cancer moon and rising. And, these eclipses hit so heavy. I did burn myself out completely after about 3.5 months with my job. I burned way out, and I realized, without getting too much into the whole story, because I don't really want to trash the place that I worked. I loved my team there, and I loved the company. I've got a really horrible taste left in my mouth after dealing with my franchisee, which essentially is what it came down to. Feeling, going from feeling seen and feeling appreciated and, positive reinforcement, help there when needed, to essentially being stranded on an island. And every time you call for help, no one helps, and you got to figure it out. I was pulling on and off the clock hours included, anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week. 60 minimum, that's just on the clock. There were a couple weeks where I had worked 80 hours. There was a time where I worked 23 days straight without a day off. It was unfair. It was unfair. Like, I know the position demanded a lot of me, being, the general manager and stuff like that. But I'm still just one person, you know what I mean? I'm still just one person, and the people that I was really depending on to pull through while the store leveled out, it's like, well, Grace can handle it. Grace will do it. Grace will fix it. Grace will get it. Grace. And I felt like I just felt like I wasn't getting any consideration at all. Anything to make my life easier. It's almost as if anything they could do to make my life harder, that's what they were choosing. And it's just, after watching them make so many, like, back to back horrible calls, like, because I've got over 20 years experience in my field. Like, I've got certifications in what I do. Like, I've taken courses on it. So, if you're not gonna respect my opinion when I give it to you, especially if you've only been in the business for a few years, like, this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I need, this is what is required. And I don't know, I lost my shit one day. The disrespect on top of it, like, it's already disrespectful enough to be in a position like that and not feel seen or appreciated or anything at all, considered at all. But to be blatantly disrespected on top of it, I was like, that's it. That's it. And I put in my 2 weeks notice, and my son who was working with me put in his 2 weeks notice, and that was it. That was it. And I've been home. I've been home now since March 25th. And I've just kind of been recovering since. Like, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, just physically, ever since. The first 2 weeks were just complete burnout recovery. And you know, there's no laws against how many hours I worked and anything like that. Like, there's nothing illegal about it, guys. You know, but I'm super human. I'm human. And I know I can handle a lot more than most, which is probably why I lasted as long as I did. But my team was real upset. My team was real upset, guys. I had one of my shift leads call me in hysterics, fucking crying. My AGM called me crying. I had crew calling me upset, like, what happened? It was a lot, you know, and those are the people that I was spending 60 to 80 hours a week with. And I love them like family, and would still be there for them like family. Like, they could call me up and need me for something, and I don't care. I'd be there for them, you know. I got really close to these people, and the way that my franchisee handled it, it was just, being disappointed in him is not even the word. It's not even the word. And so in hindsight, you know, like I was talking about with all these different cycles, these eclipse cycles and everything going on in my work and career, you know, challenging my first house of self, challenging my rising sign, you know, and with everything going through Pisces, like, if you guys remember back in like December, I had let you guys know that at some point, you know, old recordings that I had done for members only. Shout out to all my pineapple patrons, by the way, who have stuck with me through all this. I love you. I love you and appreciate you. But I had, where was I thinking? I just thought about my pineapples and I lost my thought. I've been reflecting through a lot. And I know that back in November, December, I started letting you guys know that there would be old videos playing. Because a lot of these videos, like when we're going through this North Node in Pisces, there's a lot coming up from the last 14 years with Neptune being in Pisces. There's different things coming back up from this whole cycle, right? We're at the end of Pisces. Pisces is the end and marks the beginning with Aryan energy. So there's even like more long-term cycles that are concluding and needing to be reflected through and really deep dived into, you know, for this. Hey, Kristen. And I love you and appreciate you too, Rita. And there's a lot that we've been called to go over. And so, you know, I've been sitting the last 2 weeks in between, you know, dental appointments and whatnot, reflecting a lot on the lessons and the similarities that the situation with my work has had with other things that I've learned through this cycle. You know, a lot of, while Neptune was in Pisces, Pluto was also transiting through my 7th house of partnerships in Capricorn. And so I had and that was, you know, challenging my moon. So I've got all of these different things kind of connecting dots. And for those of you who are pineapple patrons and or have just followed me for a very long time, you know the relationship dynamic, especially if you've been with this channel a long time, you know the relationship dynamic that I went through when I was with my quote-unquote, you know, twin flame. The person that I had considered my twin flame for about 5 years. We were living together at one point. When I finally split from him for good, you know, there were certain things that I knew and certain things that I thought, after going through everything that I did, that I had certain things under control, you know, that I could see certain red flags in relationships and, you know, things like that. And I was really confident about that, you know, being able to see those things now where I didn't see them before. And Spirit wanted to make sure I learned it with my work too, because that relationship with my counterpart, I poured my whole soul in. I poured my whole soul in for no consideration, no respect, no gratitude. You know, I was pouring myself in, and anything he could do or choose to make our life harder, to make success harder, he chose it, you know. We weren't a team. We weren't a team. I was a one-man show. And that was the same pattern that I was having with my work. You know, I was pouring my whole self in and pushing myself to limits, dealing with not being considered, you know, dealing with ungratefulness, like just no respect. It was a really difficult realization to come to. You know, like, these lessons don't stop. And I refuse to date. Like, I haven't dated. I've been single and celibate for, well, since the end of 2021. You know, I thought I really had it under control, not willing to settle. You know, if it's right, it's right. I'll feel it. I'll trust it. I'm open, you know. Wasn't trying to force it out, just not compromising my standards and not, you know, ignoring my intuition. I was really proud of myself. You know, I was really proud of myself. And the whole while, you know, and it wasn't always like that at my job. Like, it wasn't always like that. It started when the new store opened, and, you know, I was an hour and a half away from everybody, you know. I don't think it was planned through like it coulda, shoulda, woulda been. I think they rushed to open. That's just my opinion. But, you know, and then when things don't work out, you know, it's your fault. You know, it's your fault. You know, like, you were putting in all of this time and all of this energy, and you were on the brink of collapse, and your body was breaking down, and your mental health wasn't great. But, you know, you failed. You failed and didn't do a good enough job. You know, it's typical narcissistic shit. You know, it's a narcissistic mentality. You know, it's everybody else's fault, no matter what they're doing, even if they've got no more to give and they're already giving more than what they've got. You know, it's their fault. That I refuse to accept anymore. Like, I'm not going to be blamed for other people's fucking poor choices. I'm not. That's something I came out of with all of this, you know. Like, if people want to make their choices, that's their birthright. They can make all the choices they want. But you're not going to point the finger at me and blame me for the repercussions and consequences of choices that you made. Just like I can't blame them for me choosing to stick as long as I did. I had been complaining for 6 weeks, asking for help for 6 weeks. And they just weren't doing it. They just weren't doing it. Or they'd say they were going to help and then just didn't fucking do it. Like, and I ended up thinking that it was taken care of, and it wasn't. And I'd have to do it, you know, and squeeze it in and figure it out. God, right before I put my 2 weeks in, and I even apologized to them. I was like, I'm sorry if if I'm coming off a certain way because I'm tired or what. I had just worked 30 hours in 2 days. I had pulled 2 back-to-back open closes. Like, and that's not even counting my drive time. I have an hour-and-a-half commute every day. Sometimes I made it twice a day. You know, it was being called in on my days off to work doubles. You know, like, the fuck? I can't get any help. I'm asking for help. You're not giving me any help. I'm putting solutions on the table, and you're declining my solution. Like, no. I was like, I need another AGM. I need another shift lead. I'm one person. I don't have enough, you know, for what the store's demands are. And they're like, no, you know, we're just going to try and run with what we've got. Okay. You mean you want me to try and run with what we've got? I don't see you coming in here to make up for the hours, you know, or to cover the hours so that I could feel like I've got someone reliable and trustworthy in the store that's not going to fuck it up. So when I come in after my day off, the store's not in shams. I was gone for 2 days. I had literally put my foot down and took 2 days off, back to back days off, and came in 2 days later, and the store was fucking horrible. You know, like, you want things organized. You go through time to label things and set up things so that people know where things go, and things were just shoved everywhere. Like, if I'm not there with eyes and ears on it, damn it, you know what I mean? Like, and I can't blame the staff. They're new. I was depending on my seasoned veteran fucking people to come through. It was like, it was the craziest thing, and I knew that I wasn't happy. I was hoping that it would get better. Fingers crossed, and like, please hear me, because I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. And they kept doing it. So I was like, okay, you made your choices, I'll make mine. You make your choices, I make mine. I do love myself. It comes to me with a challenge sometimes. But at the end of the day, like, I'm going to consider how I feel, and how I feel is going to choose. At the end of the day, you know, when we're dealing with solar eclipses and things like that, and this is the way I described it. If you think about yin and yang, right, you've got the piece of each inside the other half. And if you think about, you know, full moons, we get that yang inside of the yin, the full moon in the night sky, all the time. And that's the masculine part that comes out inside of our feminine energy that chooses for the feminine. But when you have a solar eclipse, it's the feminine, right? The dark circle, it's the feminine that moves in front of the sun, which is the yang, where the moon, the feminine energy, gets in between the yang's ability to reach the earth and shot call for what is going on in your life. When a total solar eclipse hits, your feminine says, you will not choose against me. You will not choose against me. The feminine makes the call. The feminine makes the call. And the eclipse went off, and my feminine energy was like, you hate this. It's got to go. It's got to go. And it did. It did. And it did. You know, I think that I think that people have a hard time with eclipses because it does rip certain things away. It does change things in ways that we're not mentally planning for or hoping for, because the feminine will always choose the most effective and efficient route, even if it's the craziest, right? Even if it's the craziest. Hey, Kelly. Where the mind, you know, it's like bracing the self. It's like bracing the self. The mind wants to predict what's coming and what's happening and how it feels comfortable letting events play out, right? The mind will be like, well, I know that this could happen and I know I could choose this, but I'd rather choose this, and because I could deal with that process and I could deal with this chain of events and I could deal with these people this way, and I don't want to go that route because that route's crazy. Well, the feminine within the self is like, how crazy is you feeling better though? How crazy is it? Like, do you not trust that the divine has you and will figure it out? Like, why are you elongating the process of discomfort? And so it, yeah, eclipse popped off in my 10th house. I didn't fucking like it. And radically shifted to fix the problem. You know, I talked to my son about it, and we were planning on moving to be closer to my work. So we had, you know, several thousand just saved because we were planning on moving, planning on getting a house. And so we've been, you know, we've been all right. We've been all right. We've been sitting, bills are paid, you know, food is in the fridge. We're sitting all right, just kind of recovering. You know, I was talking to Kristen, was it yesterday? She had reached out to me in PM. I love you, Kristen. And I've been wanting to go live since I left my job, but even more so the last 2 weeks, because the physical recovery has kind of eased off. I'm still dealing with the mental and psychological recovery of it, but physically I recovered all right. I focused on myself a lot initially to recover from that. I'm pretty sure I slept for 16 fucking hours the first day. But I haven't been guided to go live. Even today, like before I went live, I sat here, I don't know, a good 20, 30 minutes. And I pulled cards. I pulled cards the other day for the full moon, and I was going to record it and upload it, and Spirit just pulled me from recording it. I took all kinds of notes. I took all kinds of fucking notes for the full moon in Libra. All kinds of fucking notes. And was channeling all kinds of messages and everything. And then when it came time to go live, Spirit was like, nope. I was like, really? Like, really? But yeah, I do miss you guys. I think about you guys a lot. Spirit has me moving through a lot of my own shit right now. I hope that, you know, as the videos that I recorded, like the members videos, Pineapple Patron videos, Divine Rebel member videos that were previously recorded, all the weekly duality reports, I really do hope that they guide you the way they need to guide you during this time. Because, you know, during this nodal transit with the North Node in Pisces, we have to be able to break this stuff down and digest it. You know, all of these different things that came up over the last 2-3 years, especially. Like, a lot of these different things are coming up. to be seen, you know, for the themes and the lessons that they are. You know, you got to remember with North Node, like North Node is Rahu. It's the head of the dragon. It eats. It eats. So as the North Node has been eating through all these different planets, like it ate through Neptune, it ate through Venus and Mercury, it's eating through Saturn, like it's eating these planets. These planets then retrograded and hit it again. You know what I mean? So like there's a lot that needs to get broken down, that where you are in your destined direction moving forward, it is meant to consume the lessons that these planets and these signs hold. You know, this Aryan, Piscean, cusp type energy, and really dig in to understand it. You know, like just scratching the surface, like, yeah, I'm talking about my work and the eclipse that happened in my 10th house. Further back in this cycle, it connects to what was going on in my partnerships in the 7th house, with Pluto being in Capricorn, you know, when it was in Capricorn. It goes back even further with me dealing with Saturnian lessons, right? The Saturn cycle at the end of Pisces, this North Node in Saturn, to the father, you know, to the father. Well, Grace, where did this pattern of relationships start? It started with my dad. It started with my dad. Feeling unseen, feeling not considered, feelings of not being appreciated and not considered. Like, it goes back to my dad and the way that my relationship with my dad ended, you know, how it left me. I haven't spoken to my dad in almost a decade, you know, and healing that. A lot of that ties to Scorpio for me. Like what's going on in my chart right now with the current cosmos, like I've got major grand trines popping off. My Cancer moon is in a trine to my Venus in Scorpio. And my Venus in Scorpio is conjunct my Saturn and Mercury conjunction in Sag. They're all within like 3 degrees of each other on the cusp of Scorpio and Sag. So it's all trining to the Pisces Aries cusp energy, back to my moon at 29 Cancer on the cusp of Leo. So I've got all this fire water cusp energy just grand trining off in my chart. I've also got some major fucking squares. I've also got some major fucking squares popping off, you know? So I mean, it's been a lot for me to kind of reflect through. But all that scorpionic energy, like my dad was a Scorpio. His sun was conjunct my Venus, and I was a daddy's girl, and I was the first woman that my mom said he fell in love with. The day he saw me, my dad's life changed. And that's that Sun-Venus conjunction. And I'm learning a lot. My dad having a Saturn-Venus conjunction myself, decided a lot of who I am and how I love. I love like my father. And he loves to his detriment. he loved my mother to his absolute detriment, and I'm breaking that. And a lot of this is why, you know, Spirit is giving me the different lessons and different experiences that it is, because this needs to be broken, not just in familial dynamics, not just how that translates into, you know, romantic dynamics, but how it even translates further and transfers further that energy into career. And even little things came up with my son along the way, and it was just like, you know, how do we finally see the pattern and allow it to break? Like, some patterns are meant to break. You're meant to develop better ones, improved ones, evolved ones, you know, and that's an ongoing process. And so I just kind of wanted to touch a base with everybody and kind of, you know, not just clue you in on what I've been going through and what I've been dealing with and what I've been experiencing, but to remind you how important it is to reflect on patterns right now. April is a huge month. There's a lot of things, and in, you know, the astrology community is always like, such a big event, it's such a big month, and they are, you know, they are, but April this year, there are so many incredible transits, big happenings that are prefacing a lot of what is going to be coming over the next 15 years. And different things that are coming up now, you know, while all of these planets are direct over the next few weeks until Pluto retrogrades. Really take advantage of the forward momentum that you can gain from being self-aware. Being self-aware, it's deeper than just knowing why you're choosing something in a moment. Being self-aware is a true understanding of patterns and how they create our experiences, and having the wherewithal and the fucking balls to face it and challenge it and refuse it if it is not right. You know, if the old pattern is not right, to stand up to yourself and say, I refuse. I refuse. You know, all of these experiences that I've had, does it make me want to love less? Give less of myself? No. No. No, it doesn't. I don't want to give less of myself. I don't want to love less. I don't want to turn that stuff off. But I do want to give it to the right people. I do want to invest my time, my life into the right people, you know? And it's a matter of, I think, just trusting yourself, because there's no real way of knowing. You just got to be able to trust yourself, and when you see it, and that's it. You know, don't keep considering the thing or the experience or the person that's not considering you. Just stop. Just stop. It's a choice you make, and you don't have to make it anymore. The world will go on. How deep you want to get involved in the spiral out, you know, that's up to you. But you could see it for what it is and just call it. Just call it. It's your life. Call the shot. No, you can't, you know, treat me that way, or no, you can't ignore that. You know, speaking up for yourself and being confident when you speak. Like, this is what my needs are. This is what my needs are. This is what your needs are. These are the needs that I'm filling. Am I incorrect? Because these are the needs that I need filled. And the only way I could get my needs filled, if you're not going to fill them, is taking away the time I'm spending filling your needs to fill my own. So either we could work together or I could work alone. But I'm not going to be made to feel that way, right? I think it's rare to find people that genuinely would not take advantage of other people. I think it's rare to find people who genuinely consider you a part of a team and want to succeed with you. Like, my success is your success and your success is mine. And that's beautiful. You know, I think that people truly being in touch with their humanity is rare. And so you kind of have to be aware of the fact that, especially if you are that way, right? Especially if you are that way, if you are one of those people out there who is genuine and looks at partnership as a true we, like, this is a true team, right? where I got you and you got me, and that doesn't even need to be questioned. That's unwavering, that's solid. I think it's rare. And if you are sitting here as one of those people, and you are rare, I think you have to be very aware of the fact of just how rare you are. And if you are a rarity, then what is common? Then what is common? You have to remember that people will always revert to self. I think you have to be aware of the fact that we are in a survivalist mentality. We're taught that from the beginning. You know, we work to survive, we eat to survive, we sleep to survive, we deal with other people to survive. Like, it's a survivability mindset. And that a lot of people default to survival. It is rare to put survival instincts to the side to consider other people, knowing that the whole being healthy is better for you as an individual than just focusing on your own self and your own individual health. It is better. It is easier to thrive when we are cooperating and considering each other. It is easier for everybody to thrive. That is a matured way of thinking, and not everybody has gotten out of survival mindset. It's become a part of their personality. People will lie to protect themselves. That's common. That's common. People lie to protect themselves from the truth. Oh, I wasn't late. I just forgot to clock in. Can you fix it for me? People lie. Oh, I didn't cheat. I swear. They lie. They don't want to be with you, or they want to be with somebody else, but, you know, they don't want to lose their house yet, or they don't want to have to pay all their own bills because they're splitting it with you, you know? So they lie to protect themselves. People lie. It's common. It's common. They lie to survive. People lie to survive. So if you are one of those people that, you know, will tell the truth no matter what, even if it puts you in a detrimental position or a not so great position, like, you'll tell the truth, you're rare. You are an evolved and matured soul. It's not about survivability. It's about what's right here. What sits right between you and you here. Who you look at when you look in the mirror is important to you. And you don't want to be a horrible, common type of person. You choose to be different. Like, a lot of people don't. And I think that, you know, I've been trying to fit in. I've been trying to fit in with people in life in general. But I cannot relate to them. Oh, that's so cool. I'm sitting here in my porch, and I actually just watched a garden snake. I have not seen a snake in real life since I was like 10 years old riding my bike. There's a snake in my garden right now. Interesting. And noted. He's pretty long for a garden snake. He's like that big. He's longer than my shoulder width. Little skinny thing. How cool. Anyway, and, you know, thank you, snakes, because snakes, they're a special kind of medicine, man. They're a special kind of medicine. They're not one you see every day. They really aren't. He's just chilling. He's going back and forth. He's hanging around on my butterfly bush. They're rare medicine. And I think that we underestimate the value. I think we underestimate the value of pain as a teacher, which is, I think, why we choose it so often. because we know it's what we need. We need the hard medicine. We need the fucking NyQuil, you know, the stuff that tastes like shit, but damn it, it works. And let's not get addicted to that, though. You know, the idea that all healing has to be a certain way in order to evolve. Pain and pressure and being uncomfortable, right? Divine discomfort. Like, yeah, we were taught how to be and what was and wasn't acceptable when we were kids. Parts of our personalities that were so fucking annoying, and, you know, parts of our personalities that got reinforced, you know, the last time we lied and blamed it on so-and-so, so-and-so got in trouble because I was trusted and they weren't, and I'm a trustworthy person who is believed even when I lie, and that mindset starts to develop as a kid. There are certain things about us that we need to go back and decide if what we were taught is actually correct. Like, people back in the day were taught that the earth was flat. They would need to go back and reteach themselves what is actually correct. The world ain't flat, you know? It's no different. There's new information that you have gotten with more time and experience. And you've got to figure out what you were taught about yourself that is or isn't acceptable to continue. Is it a fact? Are you annoying? Is it a fact? Or was it just one person's opinion? Or 2? Or 10? It doesn't matter. Is it fact? I do want to read cards. I do. I want to do an all signs. I've made 2 thumbnails. I planned on going live for all signs. I was just like, I want to read. I want to do an all signs. I made 2 different thumbnails on 2 different days, and just Spirit never guided me to go live. And I was just like, you know what? All right. Thumbnail was cool. Thank you for the wonderful little creative hour. Damn it. You know, I'm in this interesting transiting moment in my life right now where I, honest to God, don't know what I want to do or what direction I want to move in. I'm not necessarily feeling, you know, like pressure or anxiety about it, but even when I didn't know what direction I was moving in my life in the past, like, I kind of always had an idea. This is the first time that I don't even have, like, kind of an idea. And so, you know, I'm just kind of taking in the moment that Spirit's giving me for myself, and trusting it's gonna work itself out. I don't necessarily feel like I'm guided to stay where I'm at in Illinois. I don't even necessarily feel guided to stay here. But I don't know. We always talk about, you know, how is not our domain. Figuring out the how is Spirit's job. We just do as we're guided and trust, and everything works out the way it's supposed to. It's a very, very simple premise that people are like, oh, it's not like that. You have to make choices. Yes, you have to make choices and take action, but the choice is to follow your intuition, and the action is the follow through. So, you know, if you've, if it's probably one of the more recent famous memes or sayings, but it's like, you know, life is kind of like a fart. And if you got to force it, it's probably shit. So, yeah. I just know that as of right now, I could literally go anywhere and do anything. And so I was like, all right, Spirit, you decide. You decide where it is my highest good to be and figure it out. Get me there. You know, I'll listen. I'll listen to my intuition and my choices. I'll do that. So, yeah, we'll see. Just see what life has. You know, try your best not to be upset over things working out in ways you didn't necessarily want or hope for. You know, like I would have never 5 years ago hoped that me and who I thought was my, you know, or felt was my counterpart, I would have never thought that him and I splitting would have been a good idea. We're better together, right? But in hindsight, like I totally accept and embrace the reality that release was so necessary. It was so required of me spiritually. You know, and it's no different with the career that I just left, you know. It's like, did I want it to end? Did I want it to work out? Yeah. But in hindsight, whatever is coming, I'm going to look back at it and be really glad I let it go. You know, that's the thing about time and hindsight. Just remember that things don't always have to work out the way you think. Sometimes there really is a better reason, a higher reason for why it's working out the way that it is. And that's okay. Trust the process. You know, the masculine and the feminine aspects of the self really need to work step by step with each other. And so if you're putting yourself in positions and choosing positions and experiences that are being eclipsed out because it's not in alignment with wherever you're meant to be, just breathe. All in divine time. All in divine time, guys. We only get this lifetime once. The experiences, you already chose what you wanted to experience. What you have yet to choose in this life is whether or not you will take the lesson and look at the experience with spiritual eyes. You were already born into your stars. You know, the experience, like I said, the experiences you're going to have are already chosen. You already chose those before you got here. But how you learn inside those experiences, if you take away the lessons you intended to take away when you chose to learn through this life, that is up to you. The experiences are going to come no matter what. You can't avoid those. It's how you deal with and process the takeaway. So don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself when things don't work out. really kind of dig into the why was this experience useful as a teacher? What can I learn from it, the experience that Spirit gave me? Because it's not like I wasn't guided to be at my career, the career that I was at. It wasn't like I wasn't guided to be with my quote unquote, you know, counterpart, blah, blah, blah. I was 100% guided, synchronistically drawn, pulled, intuition, flying, like, this is perfect, this is divinely aligned the whole time when they were coming in. You know, but they weren't meant to stay, and that's fine. What was I meant to take from it for the time that I was experiencing it? What am I meant to see? What am I meant to reflect on? Now that that process of learning has ended, right? That chapter of the book is over. And look forward to the next one. And look forward to the next one. Like, I went on a date for the first time. I did go on a date for the first time. And I had a great time. I had a great time. I think that, you know, whether it has future or not is neither here nor there. It's just, you know, we allow ourselves to be divinely guided and reflect on it. You know, if my soul is learning lessons of refusal, right? Lessons of refusal, refusing to be not considered, right? Refusing to be lied to, refusing to be unimportant, refusing to not be appreciated, right? I'm going to go into the next life refusing to accept parents that would teach me it's okay, because that's what they did this life. They taught me it was okay, right? They taught me that it was normal to be devalued. It was normal to be told to shut up. It was normal to be a prisoner in your life. It was normal. That was what I was taught from a kid. You're a prisoner in your life. I'm going to go into the next life refusing. Absolutely the fuck not. Not going to choose that again. I'm good on that. I'm good. I spent my whole life learning it. Great. Don't got to learn that again. That's fine. Like, if Spirit wanted me here, really, truly, for 100 years, wanted me to live to be some old bitch for 100 years, learning over and over and over and over again, it doesn't feel good to let people treat you this way, right? It doesn't feel good to surround yourself in a world with this survivalist mindset, right? That everybody's, most people seem to be in. I'm going to stand true in my conviction that being emotionally intelligent is worth it. I would rather be emotionally intelligent. I would rather listen to my feelings and the feelings of other people and truly work as a team to where everybody feels like they win, versus every man out for themselves. I'll refuse. I'll come back when the world's right. If I leave this life, I promise you, I will come back when the world is right. And I'm not coming back to this selfish shit. You know, I'm watching, obsessively so, the Wheel of Time series on Amazon Prime. If you have not watched it yet, get on Amazon Prime and watch the Wheel of Time. Right now, it's 3 seasons. There's 8 episodes in each season. It's a fantasy series. So there's magic, there's weaves, there's light versus dark, and the shadow, and yin and yang, and power, and the delicate balance of all of these different things. And I've been rewatching it the season 3 finale just aired yesterday, but I must have rewatched all 3 seasons like 4 fucking times. I'm obsessed. And of course I'm on YouTube listening to all the different, you know, podcasts and commentaries and breakdowns, and, you know, because it's based off books by Robert Jordan. It's based off like a 14 or 15 book series. And it's incredible. The character arcs are incredible. It's amazing to watch. Like, it's visually awesome. And I've seen a lot of patterns. I've seen a lot of patterns and different commonalities that the show has, the different threads throughout the show that really mirror what is going on collectively, and the different factions and facets of the self that can sometimes find common ground and get along, and sometimes they're at war with each other, and sometimes there's good reason. How fear plays a role, how it keeps us blocked. Like, there's a lot. There's a lot. The evolution of self, it's all a part of that show. And I think it's incredible. And maybe if you're going through a deep dive with yourself, you could enjoy and appreciate watching it from the eyes of spirit, like giving you a gift of spiritual riddle. The great spiritual riddle, you know, that we're solving, that each of us are solving in this life. I thoroughly enjoy the show. It had me fucking crying. Oh my God. And not like sad tears, but like wow. Like wow tears, like amazement. So fucking happy for character tears this last finale. But yeah, I don't know, that's what I've been up to. I've done some meditating this week. I've definitely moved, at least temporarily, out of my bedroom, and I moved my little like twin mattress that I had in my futon out on the back porch, because it's like all windows. It's like a sunroom, and just because it's been better on my mental to just be out closer to my backyard and my garden and the trees. I could hear the birds in here better than my bedroom. So it's been peaceful. I've been trying to give myself that, because prior to leaving my job, life was anything but peaceful. It was anything but peaceful. And I've needed it. I've needed it. I'll never, never pour myself like that for anybody who's not pouring like that for me. Don't get me wrong. I love pouring. I do. But I'm not going to do it unless someone is absolutely loving pouring into me while I pour into them. And that's just where I landed with it. I don't care what it is. Family, relationships, work. I'm good. I'm good. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. And I am still here. And I hope you guys really do utilize the weekly duality reports that I'm pretty sure are just airing on Mondays. I linked up the previous dates with the current dates as far as like premieres. So you guys will continue to see old school energies kind of coming up to be revisited and processed through, right? Digested through. Hey, Lala. I love you so much. I love you so much. And I will do my best to be back around. Like I said, it's not that I don't miss you guys or think about it every day. I think about going live every day, but I always check in with spirit. You know, like, what are we doing today? Can I go live? Can I go live? Really. Spirit's been having me focus so much on myself. It feels a little weird. It feels a little weird. Like, I've had to pull back and like reverse all the fucking pouring that I was doing quite a bit. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Just, you guys are not alone. You guys are not alone. You can absolutely let me know if you've had any revelations about the eclipse, you know, the eclipse cycles going through, how it's affected your charts. You know, like for me, it was definitely 10th house, 7th house, 1st house, kind of crazy shit. Fucking crazy shit. But, yeah, can let me know how it goes for you guys. And, I will do my best. I will do my best. That is the best that I could do. If you want to dig a little deeper into, especially the full moon in Libra that we just had, or where we're at, there was a song coming up, specifically a remixed version. It's by Chris Brown, Under the Influence. It's the Supra 5 remix specifically, because it takes certain clips from Selena Gomez's song, like I Had to Lose You to Love Me, and it blends it in with the songs. And the way that those two songs work, like the different lyrics, it was so wild, because Spirit was literally having it must have had me listen to the song, I don't know, for like 4 hours. And I had it on loop, but I was getting all kinds of downloads looking at the chart, and different aspects that were popping out, like different lyrics, different lines were so tied to certain transit combinations. And I was just like, that is so wild, because that song was popping up like crazy in my head. And so I looked it up on YouTube, and I was guided to that specific remix. But there's a lot packed in. Dangerously addictive energy, loss, rediscovering the self, revelation, breaking old boundaries, like it's all in there. So I recommend doing that as like a practice for yourself. Like if you have a song pop up in your head and you have the time to look at your chart and really listen to that song, if you've got even more astrological knowledge and can actually do synastry in your head, like between you and like the current transits, like you could see how all this is playing out, you know. Like I said, like I've got a lot of grand trine energy going on right now, but I've also got like a Neptune square, natal Neptune going on. I've got Jupiter opposite my stellium in my 12th house with Chiron and Lilith. I've got the Pluto opposition and my moon still popping off with Mars. Like I've got some wild shit going on in my chart right now. I've got some wild shit going on in my chart right now. And so right now, I appreciate you guys as you're all kind of like bearing with me. And it's Chris Brown, Under the Influence, the Supra 5 remix. But yeah, I don't doubt I'll be around in divine time. I know that there's still a few personal readings that I want to get out. I know some of you have reached out to me for them. I just have not I haven't had it. If I didn't have the time and energy when I was working, I'm definitely in recovery right now. But there are some things that I want to catch up on. I know there's some packages that I still have not forgotten about that I want to get out. And so I'll try and be as present as I can for everybody, as I'm also catching up. I got a lot of catching up to do in general. And me being like ADHD and a little autistic, I'm trying to find the motivation to like start it and get it done without like crashing out into the, like that typical ADHD like overwhelm. So I'm trying to find a balance there. But I love you guys. Yeah, the shifts have been fucking wild. The shifts have been fucking wild. I'm gonna go try and eat something. I'm probably gonna take a shower. I'm going to one of my ex-employees. She also left the job after I left. She was the one that called me in fucking hysterics. And she's like, Grace, I'm not working here without you. Like, absolutely fucking not. Like, you're the whole reason. Like, you're the whole reason. I helped her so much in, like, her personal life. Like, she was like, it's not even worth it if you're not there. And she left. Like, she left. But she kept in touch with me. And she has a recital today with her school and her students. And I'm going to go. I'm gonna go drive out there. It's about a 45 minute drive, but I'm gonna go drive out there and visit her, see her recital, support her. So I will be around. I don't have any plans this weekend. Spirit wants me to get in my goddamn garden. But outside of that, I'll be back. It's just been a really slow recovery process. I mean, slow for me because, I mean, I'm a Sag. Patience both is and isn't my forte. But yeah. I'll be back here at some point. I do hope that the weekly duality reports help you guys process through the different energies. And it is challenging. It is. It's not simple. You know, like going through these transits with the North Node eating on all these fucking planets, like North Node going through Saturn and Saturn gonna, you know, retrograde and back and all this shit. Like, it's like trying to eat a jawbreaker without patience. So be easy on yourself. Definitely look into your chart. Look at it, you know, compared to what's going on right now. See if you can identify your own challenges and just be aware of it. Just be aware of it. Like, I am very well aware. Like, I was aware of it before it even went down. I was aware of it. You know, when all the eclipse cycles were coming up for April and the end of March and all this shit, and I was just like, I already know. Like, I already knew it was going to be fucking wild and that I may or may not come out of my career unscathed. Like, I already knew. I knew months ago. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, this is it. You know, I'm going to ride into the storm then, you know, face the storm head on. Not going to run from it, you know. But I knew it. I already knew. I was like, I would have been, honest to God, surprised if I made it through that eclipse season, the way that it was affecting my chart, the way that it was aspecting on my chart, the way that it was, I would have been seriously surprised if I didn't leave my career. So, you know, become familiar with your chart and the different synastries. You don't have to know what everything means, but if you can know that, you know, all the fixed signs square and oppose each other, and all the mutable signs square and oppose each other, and all the cardinal signs square and oppose each other. If you can learn simple basics, what is their modality? Fixed, cardinal, or mutable? And are they in square? Are they in opposition? Because that is going to let you know where the challenged feelings are meant to be viewed, right, from that lens. The challenges between your 10th house and 1st house, Grace. That is your challenge, career versus self. That's what you're dealing with. Your reputation and who you are and what you do versus who you are and how you love yourself and how you view yourself and how you carry yourself forward in life. You know, like, these two things are at odds. This is where the most tension's going to be, and therefore that's where your lesson is, and that's the challenge you need to rise to, right? You can at least pinpoint where the challenges are and say, okay, how can I better understand this then? You know, but do a little bit of digging. Do a little bit of digging, because you will be less shocked. You will be less shocked. Like, trust me, if I did not follow astrology and I felt, you know, like I'm important to the job, like I was, and you're putting in all these hours, you know, like if I had this mindset of I'm irreplaceable and then lost my shit and expected them to chase me, like, I already knew. I already knew. You know, but had I been ignorant, like, I could have had a serious fucking meltdown. I could have had a serious fucking meltdown. I just know. You know, I look at these things and I was like, okay, like, this is probably most likely the scenario. And it played out exactly like I kind of knew that it was going to. You know, it did. Which is, I guess, why, you know, I say it's a slow, long recovery, because it's been not even a month. But for anybody else, it might have taken a lot longer. Like, to be fair, 3 weeks, 4 weeks is pretty fucking fast. It's pretty fucking fast to not be, like, freaking out. But I don't know. I'm also my own worst critic. I'm a Virgo IC line, so. Details. Details. I am my own worst critic. By far. By far. And I'm deep diving into that while South Node is going along my IC line. So, anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. Life calls us together when it does. Whether you catch me live or catch me in replays, but it calls us together when it does. I'm always here. One way or another, I am always here. You can watch any video at any time. I got playlists, pick a card readings, pick whatever readings. You guys will find what you need with me or elsewhere. You always will. I trust that, and I'll be here. Bye, everybody.